Welcome back here to Global Time Attack Road Atlanta. This is day one of a two-day pro series. We're here with session 2 of the day. Fastest times from session 1 actually belonged to Eric Fleming in his unlimited class Corvette Z06. Jackie Ding just behind him, barely a second off the overall street record, trying to take his record back from Amir Bentatu before he retires the TA90. We have consolidated these run groups down from 4 to 3, so we're going to see 3 about 20-minute sessions of these cars. For those of you wondering, we do have Group 3 out on track right now. Group 3 does consist of Taylor Matchak, Nicholas Steniford, Brad Balcom, Ian Buenaventura, Ray Guerrero, Kevin Vu, Money Sarr, Luther Lloyd, Marshall Moore, Nicholas Bright, Mark Matchak, Spencer Matchak, Corin Tyson, and Jose Chavez. Now, the drivers did have a chance in the morning sessions to set down flying laps. If you're just joining us now, you'll see a little dampness on the track. What you missed was the very first set of run groups went out on a wet track. It was raining until about 6:30 or 6:45 in the morning. So obviously without any sun out, with cloud cover, with a 60-degree weather out here, the track was rather wet. This is a world-class facility, so they did have the blower trucks out there trying their hardest to dry this track up, but realistically, the only thing that was going to dry this track up properly was drivers on track. It does seem we have more people out right now. Everyone got their installation laps in session 1, and now they're out there trying to set fast laps. For those of you wondering where we get our timing and scoring, it's from Race Hero. You can either go to racehero.io or download the Race Hero app on your Apple and Android device. It does look like we have 12 cars on a flying lap right now. Ray Guerrero may have led them out. Nicholas Steniford right behind. Now, to give you a little bit of information from the earliest sessions, Eric Fleming set a 1:26.158 to lead the fastest lap of the event so far. And Jackie Ding, less than a second off the record at a 26.448 in a street class TA90. This vehicle should be retired after every GTA event it runs. I believe he is already running his new car in Grid Life, but he wanted a chance to take his records back after Coda to here. I believe that will probably be the last time we will see this car at one of our events or any event for that. So it's going to be exciting to see what he can do with that. Currently, we have Ray Guerrero at a 1:41.12, picking up the pace a little bit from his first session, followed by Kevin Vu at a 41.831. Now, for a point of reference, Kevin Vu in practice did believe a 38 or a 36, so they're doing a good job of picking up the pace. No, he did a 41 in practice. My apologies. He did a 46 last session. So he's obviously much more comfortable with the track right now. He's right on pace with his fastest lap of practice. If he can do these speeds with overcast, no sun, a colder track, and tires that aren't up to temp yet, he definitely has a lot of pace left in that vehicle. We are here with our second run group session of the day. This is going to go for 1 hour. We'll take a break and be back for the final session before 1 o'clock. Now, this is Drift Atlanta also, so we will have the drift paddock start to fill up even more. We'll have more and more fans coming in to check this out, but this is day one of Global Time Attack Road Atlanta. That's going to be Mr. Brad Balcom in his enthusiast class car at a 139.162, followed by Ray Guerrero at a 39.336. 39.162 in that enthusiast class car is going to get him pretty close to the front. Currently, the fastest car in enthusiast class is going to be Jonathan Wheeler at a 38.932. Now, his fastest time here is a 34.2 flat, so obviously this weather has hindered that a little bit, but with these cars going faster every single lap, it's just a matter of time before we're back in record contention. There, Ian Buenaventura with a 141.136, just a little bit off his fastest. Same with Ray Guerrero. Everyone seems to be losing a tenth, but Kevin Vu, on the other hand, a 138.390, breaking the sub 40 barrier on a track he's obviously becoming more and more comfortable with. It is nice to see these cars out on track right now. Everyone seems to be comfortable out here. Cars are lapping. The biggest thing we saw in the first session is we saw a couple offs, people a little uncomfortable with the condition of the track. But right now, everyone seems to be going a little bit faster. We have cars coming into the hot pits, getting tire pressures checked and changed, ready to go out to set another flyer. You can really see from right here how high commitment turn one is. It's the kind of corner where if you carry too much speed in and you miss that apex, you touch the grass on the outside, it puts you to the inside wall. This is something that we've seen not only in a time attack event, but also actual wheel-to-wheel series. Now, what you can't see from the drone is how much elevation change you have here going through the S's. You drive down into the S's, hit the middle S, and come right back up to a blind crest going left. That left-hander he's taking right there is a little bit blind. You go up and over a small crest and you're back to flat. This track in riding, it seems pretty simple. When you see a drawing of a track and go, wow, that's a lot of straights, a lot of this, a lot of that. But this track in practice is a completely different world. Turn 12 coming down the front straight is taller than where I am sitting in the tower right now. Currently, I'm on the 4th floor of the tower, and the downhill is above my head. So these drivers are dealing with blind crests, elevation changes. 2 of the highest commitment corners are coming down 12 and up 1. High-speed braking zones into 10A and 10B, setting up for the downhill. The time gained and lost at this track is in the driver's head and their skill set with the vehicle. It does look like Kevin Vu is going to be leading this session so far. For those of you watching and aren't on the Race Hero app and are wondering what the colors next to the names are, I can make it very simple for you. Those colors are for classing. It's the same colors they would have on their windshield banners. So limited class would be blue. Kevin Vu, next to his name is blue. Brad Balcom, enthusiast class is going to be yellow. Street class is going to be green like Ian Buenaventura. Unlimited class is going to be black. And Pro Comp is going to be white. So if you're ever curious who on grid right now is fighting with each other in time, you would go first and third are in the same class. Kevin Vu and Ray Guerrero are fighting each other for time. Kevin Vu to 38.3, Ray Guerrero to 39.3, so about a second off of each other. You'll notice that most of these drivers actually set their fastest laps on their most recent lap. Now, Kevin Vu set his on his 3rd lap. He's done 5. But you have Brad Balcom, Nicholas Bright, Money Sarr, Luther Lloyd, Corin Tyson, Spencer Matchak, all setting faster laps every single lap they're out there, which just shows you they're becoming more and more comfortable with the track. Now, for those of you wondering where a driver you are following may be, make sure to check the racehero.io website or the Race Hero app. It'll show you what run group they're in, what times they've already run, what time their session is going to be going out. Currently, we're in Group 3, Session 2. We'll be going to Group 2 and then Group 1. We have consolidated the groups down from 4 to 3, so make sure you check that out and don't expect them to be in the same place. Because we do everything based off speed differential, if someone was going faster or slower than expected, they may be bumped up or down. We don't want you to miss your favorite drivers just because you thought they were going at a certain run group. As you can see right there, that's where the Formula Drift paddock starts, or the Formula Drift field starts to get ready. That's where you'll see them doing figure eights to warm their tires up and their skillet before they come down the back straight. Now you'll see when our competitors are coming down to 10A and 10B, there's a lot of rubber laid down all the way to the braking zone, the left, the right, and then the loop around before coming down 12. That's where Formula Drift does their entire competition. It's a win-lose for our competitors because there is rubber laid down, but obviously rubber laid down on a wet track is very slippery. So the very first session of the day, I was hearing from drivers that through that entire complex, the car was more like skating than it was gripping. That's a good view right there of the rubber being laid down I was talking about. Now, obviously, the track is dried up, so this rubber is going to be helpful or at least not hinder the drivers. But when we're talking about these boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, going at full speed through these corners, and wet track and rubber do not go well together. If you follow enough racing, you'll know offline is the best line in the rain. But when you have rubber laid down across the entire track like that, you're skating through it trying to find that proper entry point into 12. For those of you that don't know, you can't see the crest up and over to 12. You're setting up based off markers, off feeling, off, okay, that little piece right there on the overhill is where I need to point my car before I go down. So when they're skating across the surface like that, it's hard to even get the setup correct. So it's pretty impressive, the lap times we saw coming out of the very first set of run groups. This is near the end of this run group. So because we have them more consolidated, they're closer to 20-minute sessions. We're about 17 minutes into this session 2, group 3. We're going to have group 2 lining up soon on the hot grid, ready to go out and set some fast laps. For those of you curious, make sure to go to racehero.io. Group 2 is going to consist of Michael Kozier, Kevin Parlett, Chin-Chi Cheng, Alexander Gallardo, Mike Osborne, Savannah Little, Devin Hoffman, Kyle McHugh, Jonathan Wheeler, Jose Mercado, Robert Rushton, Gabe Finger, Jeremy Lauder, and Kyle Gurney. These are all the cars from Group 2 going out. Now, a few of these have a chance to set some faster laps. We have Savannah Little in the C8 Corvette. We have not seen her set a lap yet. I believe she did not go out in the first run group. It's going to be nice to see what kind of lap times they lay down in that car. Devin Hoffman only did a couple installation laps because they just put a new transmission in her car. Hopefully they have that all figured out and they can really send it. Jonathan Wheeler set a pretty fast lap, a 38.932 in his enthusiast class car on a wet track. The speeds that these drivers are doing now means that he has a much better track to come out and try to retake or try to extend his lead and maybe set a record out of reach of others. That is going to be the checkered flag for this run group. Anyone who's on a flying lap is going to count, but I believe most of these people are on cooldowns. We do have one person moving with speed down the back straight. You can still see from this drone shot, it is very overcast. And what's really rough for the Formula G paddock is it looks like it's going to rain after 1 o'clock. We go till 1. But everything I'm looking at says around 12:30 we're going to have more rain. So it looks like, it's actually been moving. The forecast continues to move. At 1 o'clock, it's now 30%. Before it was 1 o'clock, 70%. So between 1 and 6 p.m., though, they're going to see rain, lightning, thunder, all a possibility. And obviously that's going to be interesting for what they're doing over there, probably more exciting for the fans. Now tomorrow, another beautiful day for our drivers. Looks like the fastest of this session is going to be Mr. Kevin Vu at a 38.390. Very beautiful Integra DC2, by the way. If you have a chance to look at it, it's definitely on the gorgeous side for track cars. Brad Balcom in a 139.162, fastest enthusiast class car of the session. And we have Ian Buenaventura with a 139.505, fastest street class car of the session. We do have Group 2 of this session out on their warm-up lap. That's Group 2 of this session out on their warm-up lap. Now that is going to be an LS Power G. That's Kevin Parlett, followed by Savannah Little in the C8. Behind Savannah Little is Devin Hoffman in her Divine Force Racing Subaru STI. Now this is a car that just had the transmission swapped last night, so after doing their first installation laps and everything working well, it seems like they are very confident in the fact they can push the limits of that car today. And here we are, the flying laps have started. That's going to be Chin-Chi Chang and Trevor DiGianni. They're from USR Racing. They're a pretty big staple here on the East Coast, not only for supplying parts to many people across the states, but coming and tracking and racing at this event. It's going to be Mr. Alexander Gallardo in his LS Powered Z, followed by Mr. Mike Osborne in his R35. Coming down the hill, looks like Kevin Parlett, another LS Power G. Difference between him and Alex is Kevin's in limited class, Alex is in unlimited. A little bit different aero rules and transmission rules, etc. Here is Miss Savannah Little in her limited class C8 Corvette, followed by Devin Hoffman in her street class Subaru STI. Kyle McCoo in his limited class Toyota Supra, followed by Jonathan Wheeler in his enthusiast class 370Z. That's Robert Rushton in his FK8 Civic Type R. And Jeremy Lauder in his Camaro. Looks like we have Mr. Kyle Gurney in his Volkswagen. Seems everyone has started their flying laps. Chin-Chi Chang actually came into the pits, did not even finish that lap. So the very first hot lap you're going to see is Alexander Gallardo. With a 132.186, obviously much more comfortable in the car this session than he was last session. Also isn't in the back for showing up late to grid, so a lot of clear space in front of him. And a 34.658 from Mr. Mike Osborne. Kevin Parlett with a 137.130. Good to see Kevin out here with a running car. We see him at a lot of events. It's been a while since he's competed with us and had the car in good order and shape to run, so it's great to see him out here pushing the limits of it. Here's Savannah Little in that C8 Corvette doing a 145, followed by Devin Hoffman at a 39.7. Kyle McCoo, though, with a 34.346 in that A90 Supra. And Jonathan Wheeler with a 34.863 in his Enthusiast Class 370Z. There we have Kevin Parlett getting more comfortable with the car, 36.919. He's picking up time every single lap, like a lot of these drivers are in these ever-changing conditions. When the track looks drier, there's obviously still dampness deep down in the soil, and every lap is going to feel faster, and these drivers are proving that. Devin with a 39.707. Now, it does look like everyone attacks 12 a little differently. Devin's line is a lot smoother through there. Other people like to take a lot of inside curb and drive it hard. Now, obviously, 12 is a dangerous corner. You want to make sure you're as clean as possible through there. But if you look right there, Rushton took every bit of that inside curb while taking turn 12, where Jeremy Lauder likes to be completely outside because he's got a lot of power in that Camaro. He doesn't want to upset the rear end and bring the car around. It's much easier to take inside curbing in a front-wheel drive car down that corner than it is a rear-wheel drive car. Kyle Gurney also going faster in his limited class Volkswagen. These drivers are finding the limit to the point where right there we have Mike Osborne at a 33.145 actually throwing sparks coming down 12. Does look like we got a couple of cooler laps here. Now, I'm not sure if this is Devin on a flyer or not, but it does look like she's still pushing it down to 12. Let's see if this is a flying lap or if she took an intermittent lap between the two. Still going faster, 37.383. They have a lot of faith in that transmission, and Savannah's really picking up the pace in the C8. She's down to a 39.3 now. And we have Kyle McCoo at 34.142. Every single driver's time right now is on their most recent lap, including Robert Rushton with a 38.122. Jeremy Lauder down to a 35.096. Every single driver is setting a faster lap when they come across this start-finish. For those of you wondering, obviously, in a perfect world with perfect conditions, they're going to set their fastest lap on the first, maybe second lap, because that's when the tires are going to be the healthiest and have the most grip, not overheated. The engine is not going to be as hot. Power is going to be optimal. But in conditions like these, it still takes you as a driver in the car to come into you. You have to feel the car come alive underneath you. Obviously, there's always going to be drivers who can push the limits of the vehicle the second they get out there, but even they are setting their laps on the third and fourth lap. We have a history with these drivers. I've seen many of these people year after year. I know when they set their fastest laps. Is it the third? Is it the fourth? Is it the second? And these drivers that usually set them on the first or second are setting them on the third and fourth. What's crazy, though, is drivers who usually set them on the fourth is setting them on the second and third, which means these are people that have a lot more faith in their cars. They're more comfortable with them. They're getting better and faster. With Savannah Little in this C8 Corvette, she just did a 39.2, a little bit faster. This isn't a car she spends a lot of time in. So to see her out here and pushing it really hard on a track with not optimal conditions is always something we love to see. Robert Rushton taking every bit of that inside curb to do a 137.431. And Jeremy Lauder's fourth lap is the first lap of the entire session that wasn't his fastest lap. For those of you just joining in, this is Group 2 of Session 2. We do 3 run groups after the very first run group of the day. So in Session 1, there were 4 run groups. We got time differentials. Drivers are broken down into 3 run groups now with a good 18, 19 minutes of each run group. Robert Rushton finally setting a slower lap on his 5th lap, but it does look like he used it as a cool down. He's going to go out and try to go faster once more. Now, we still have Group 1 of Session 2 left to go. If you're wondering if your driver or your friend or your family or someone that you're following has gone out already, check racehero.io or download the Race Hero app on your Android or Apple device. It'll not only tell you the lap times they've run, it'll tell you when they're coming up to race again. About 12 minutes into this session, it looks like Alexander Gallardo is the fastest out here right now at his 33.57. Mike Osborne in his limited class car at 33.145. We had a few cars come in earlier, get tire pressures checked and temps. It looks like most of these competitors have felt they've hit the limit of what they can do this session, which is great. Here we have it. Ferris Khartoumi finally on grid, ready to go out. He did miss the first session. Now, I have not had a chance to talk to him. I was going by his pit earlier, but he was in the middle of something, and I'm never going to get in the way of a competitor preparing to compete. But we were feeling that it could have been because the track was wet and he's on slicks, but it could have also been he had to take care of something on the car before he went out. He's got that new beautiful Momo livery. That's his new title sponsor on that car. For those of you unaware, he's absolutely going to World Time Attack in this car. He wants to get some practice laps in, but he also wants to reset the overall record here, just like every track he goes to. His goal is to set the production car record and reset any record sitting on the track. Been a while since we've seen him come here and compete. I obviously saw him win at COTA earlier this year, so having Ferris out here is always a good sign for not only the sport, but for the fact that we're going to see a record fall. We would love to give a huge shout out to Yokohama. They have been our title sponsor for a few years now, and they've not only given our competitors some amazing advantages with engineers and the ability to learn more about how tires work on their cars, they've been part of motorsports in the States for years and years, and it's great to see them continue to grow. Looks like they're getting ready to send these drivers out as soon as everyone is in from Group 2 of Session 2. We're going to go hot with Group 1 of Session 2. For those of you wondering, this will be the final run group before we go to lunch. We'll throw up the schedule really quick. That way you see what we're looking at. Currently, we're in Group 1 of Session 2. We'll be on lunch from 11:25 to 11:55. We'll take a quick little 30-minute break, and at 12 o'clock, we'll come back for more time attack action. Hopefully we get these drivers sent out soon so we can see what kind of lap time Ferris sets. Anyone who's been following Ferris long enough knows that he's not really a fan of going soft. He likes to go out there and set a fast lap on his first flyer. Here with these conditions, maybe it'll be the second flyer. But again, knowing Ferris, he's going to send it as hard as he can as soon as he can. And here we are with Group 1 being sent out. Ferris, first one out, being followed by Eric Fleming. Behind Eric Fleming, we have Mr. Jackie Ding. Behind Jackie Ding, we have Mr. Jason Guzman. Behind him, in that Chevrolet Corvette, is Mr. Ryan Matthews. Then we have a Corey Ross in the BMW M3. Now, all the way at the back is Mr. Philip Grabo. Now, he should be third, fourth in line, but he pulled himself out in the first session. So I'm not sure if there was an issue with the car or he's still trying to figure some things out. And here we go. Ferris Kartoumi setting his first flying lap. He was pushing it pretty hard down the hill. I heard him up over the hill before he crested. It does seem like he's still getting used to the vehicle here in these conditions. But behind him is going to be Eric Fleming, really pushing the limits. Eric has a complete session under his belt right now. Here's Jackie Ding pushing to retake that street class record. There we have Mr. Leaf Store in his Unlimited Class GTR, followed by Ryan Matthews in his Street Class C5. Corey Ross in his BMW M3. And Philip Grabo in his Element Tuning Subaru STI. If Ferris is on a flyer, we should be seeing him at any moment. And there he is, folks. Ferris Kartoumi, a 121.949. To put into comparison, the rear-wheel drive record was a 24.206. He now holds the unlimited rear-wheel drive record. He has not, though, taken the overall unlimited record, which is a 119.509. But that was his first lap at this event in that car. I feel like it's not going to be the last lap we see. But look at Eric Fleming. Eric Fleming with a 23.674 right on his tail. If Ferris had not set that lap, Eric would have the unlimited rear-wheel drive record. What a flyer. Jackie Ding a couple tenths off the street class rear-wheel drive record. And Leaf Store at 28.757. We have Ryan Matthews at a 129.639. And let's see if Phil can finish a flying lap. Hopefully they didn't have too many issues with that car. It does look like Phil is going to finish this flying lap, which is great. Corey Ross with a 137.435. And Philip Grabo at a 133.783. Great job, Phil. I'm glad whatever issues you guys had, you got it figured out. Does look like you got a little smoke coming out of the back of that car, though it is a Subaru. That may be normal. Here's Eric Fleming for lap number 2. A 122.900. Listen to me. Ferris does not have anything locked in on this track. Eric Fleming is going to continue to go faster every lap. This man flies. But does Jackie Ding have the record in his hand? He was a few tenths off. He is a tenth slower than his last lap. I felt it on that one, Jackie. Come on, my friend. It does look like we had Ferris come in after that flying lap. Now, obviously that car is set up to the nines. Its whole purpose is to set one flying lap. Hopefully they check it out or are able to send it back out before this session is over. Leaf Storer with a 127.672. Let's see if Ferris is going back out or if he's bringing it into the pits. Got Mr. Corey Ross at a 151.011. Eric Fleming did come in after his second lap. Very, very impressive lap, by the way. 22.900. Eric Fleming wants everyone to know it doesn't matter what class he's in, he's here to win. Jackie Ding also coming in. So he was a tenth slower on his second lap. He only needed a couple tenths to take the record. I'm sure he's going to come back out and push it even harder on the next session, but I was really expecting to see it right there. Let's go ahead and recap what we saw here, guys. Ferris Khartoumi led this group out. He did a 121.949. He reset the unlimited rear-wheel drive record by a little bit under 3 seconds. Then we had Eric Fleming on his first lap do a 23.4, which would have been a full second and a half faster than the unlimited rear-wheel drive record. Being Eric Fleming, he went for a second flyer and did a 22.9. He is less than 1 second off the fastest time attack car that is still competing in the United States today. That is definitely something to hold over. Just that's incredible to me. Now, with that being said, Ferris has only done one lap. We do expect him to continue to drop time, but Eric Fleming is going to keep the pressure on. If Ferris fumbles at all, Eric could absolutely take this whole thing. We had Philip Grabo there in the pits. He did a 33.783. This man is very familiar with this track and competing with us. What we do see is he had an issue a little bit earlier today, and he did not go out in the first run group at all. So whatever he had going on, I hopefully have figured out. Jackie Ding at a 25.897. The record is a 7.75. So he was a little bit like, 12 hundredths off of the record right there. It does look like we have Ryan Matthews starting another hot lap. His fast is a 129.639 at the moment. It does look like currently we only have 2, maybe 3 cars on track. This is the thing about the fastest session. They want to go out there and they want to set fast laps. I did expect Ferris to possibly do 2 laps, but I was not surprised he only did 1. Eric Fleming, a little shocking. He's the king of doing 3 to 5 every session and always going faster, but I feel he may have his car set up more aggressively this event, which is great for us because he's immediately going out and setting flyers. A 22.9 in his car, if you know anything about his car, very minimal aero, very minimal everything, to be honest with you. A beautifully built engine, a great transmission, and a extremely fast driver. It does look like we have Mr. Philip Grabo being towed from the hot pits. So whatever issue he had, he finished a flying lap, got all the way back, but found it to be detrimental enough to not drive it back to his pits. Hopefully whatever it is something silly and they can get back out there. Phil has been competing for a long time, and he's not the kind of guy that just likes to sit on his laurels. Whatever it is, he's going to do what it takes to get it back out. That's how you start a flying lap right there. I know it's hard to tell on camera, but honestly, he was full commitment down 12 and into 1. I feel like we're going to see a very fast lap out of that gentleman. Is probably where you slow down the most before you come down the back straight. This back straight is wide open throttle. It's also not straight, but you know, when you don't have to lift to make the corners, it's not a big deal. You're going to come all the way down this back straight to the small little right kink before the braking zone to 10A, 10B. It does look like he's backed off a little bit, though. Yeah, that doesn't seem like he's at full beans anymore. Nope, he's pulled off to the left. I'm unsure if he's maybe setting up for another hot lap, but I don't understand why he'd want to do that, because his 12 to 1, the commitment through there was incredible. Or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he was full beans down the back straight, and it's just hard to tell from the drone shot. Let's look. No, that was a 146. He's running 133, so he clearly backed off on the back straight. Let's see what he does on this lap. This is Mr. Corey Ross in his limited class M3. Does look like Mr. Ross has not come back from a full flyer. We got our drone back in, gonna get it powered up, ready to go back out. This is gonna be near the end of this session. We have about 3-4 minutes left maybe, but at 11:20 this session ends. We're gonna take a lunch break from 11:20 till 11:55. We'll be back live here at 11:50 Eastern time, ready to show you these cars going out for their final sessions of the day. And it does look like Mr. Corey Ross has come in. He was the final car on track. So that's going to end Group 1 Session 2. That's going to be the end of Group 1 Session 2. For those of you watching on YouTube, for those of you watching on Facebook, for those of you watching on Twitch, make sure you have your notifications on. This stream is going to end, but we will be back live at 11:50. Make sure notifications are on so you can know when we're live. Also, if you're curious about any of the times of the day, don't forget racehero.io or the Race Hero app on your Android or Apple device. Currently, Faris Khartoumi is leading this event with his one lap, but Eric Fleming is right on his tail. Jackie Ding knocking on the door of the street class record. Looks like we have a little bit more excitement in store for today. This is Cuban Rodriguez, and I will be back at 11:50. Don't forget.